Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Marzano's Learning and Teaching Strategies. So, to recap, we did already 5 episodes, and this is going to be the sixth one, which is cooperative learning. Okay, so before we proceed, let's do a quick recap of everything that we learned so far. So, at first, we studied about identifying similarities and differences. We summarized and did note taking, reinforced effort and provided recognition, and then we exerted effort in homework and practice, and we also learned about non linguistic representations. So, we are more than half of Marzano's teaching and learning strategies. The sixth is going to be cooperative learning. So, from the word cooperative learning, maybe you as a person can deduce that cooperative learning is about collaboration, about students working together to learn something new. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Cooperative learning is created to make people work together in solving problems. And by doing so, they are learning from it. So, according to Marzano, cooperative learning increases achievement while teaching students soft skills and fostering students' relationships. So, we're going to talk more on this aspect later in a bit. And also, we have cooperative learning examples, which we will provide later, but it can include learning centers and jigsaw activities and so many other things. So, teachers should be able to limit the use of ability groups. We keep groups small, we apply strategy consistently and systematically, but we shouldn't overuse this. So the point is we assign roles and responsibilities in groups. So it's not that every activity should be a group activity. So let's talk more about cooperative learning. What is it exactly? Okay. So, cooperative learning is a group learning activity organized in such a way that learning is dependent on the socially structured exchange of information between learners group. Cooperative learning is a successful teaching strategy in which small teams, each with students of different levels of ability, use a variety of learning activities to improve their understanding of a subject. So, from the word itself, cooperative, we are trying to make people work together in order to cooperate and learn. Now, each member of a team is responsible not only for learning what is taught, but also for helping teammates learn. So, it's creating an environment that is full of achievement. Students work through the assignments until all groups members successfully understand and complete it. So, the difference in this one is probably each student will have their own role that they have to play in order to solve a problem. It's not that we're gonna give a problem to one group and they solve it on their own. It's much better if we will assign roles to each of them so that by doing their role, they are helping the group altogether instead of just one person, two people working on, and the others are just observing. So that's not the point that we want to do. Okay, so there are 5 things that are associated to cooperative learning. The first one is, of course, interaction. We all know that by creating groups and by asking students to work on one project, then we are helping them to interact with one another. And that's exactly one good thing about cooperative learning. There is also positive interdependence because being dependent to somebody is not always a bad thing. You know, being dependent on somebody is a sign of teamwork. It's a sign of good relationship with others. Group processing, uh, it can help students to assess how well they can work with a group instead of working on their own. Of course, there are phases when we work, and most people work on their own better than with other people. But in a way, we are developing this skill to students if we are going to group them. And then skills. So this is exactly what they need to learn. It's either technical human skills, but the point is once they are working on a project or a problem, then they are learning something from it. And then this is where individual responsibility comes in. If you are going to assign roles to each of the student, then they will be able to have a sense of ownership in what they are doing, and by doing so, they will be responsible. Now, let's talk more. Okay, what student needs to do in order to achieve it? So for interaction, students assist and interact with each other to solve problems. So as I said earlier, for positive interdependence, students work as cohesive groups to achieve shared learning objectives. And then individual accountability is that students do their best work and share ideas and help to function efficiently. And then group processing is about reflecting on the learning process, particularly the effectiveness of the contribution of the members in the group, yeah. And then lastly would be the interpersonal and social skills. So as the students work together, they trust they trust each other and resolve conflicts constructively, which later on they are able to achieve their common goals. So these things are important in cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is not giving an individual task to a group of students and ask them to finish together. It's more than that. We are asking the students to share what they know. We are encouraging them to be independent and dependent at the same time by giving them roles and by sharing that role to other students and how it can help them. So, so we can actually assign letters to each of the element. So we have PIGSF, and here are the characteristics that we are trying to improve by each. So positive interdependence, we are developing the relationships of the students and their contribution to the group members. Individual accountability, we are asking them to participate individually and to perform uh, by depending on the rest of the members. So, despite being independent or individual, they should be relying on others to help them achieve their goals. Group processing is by developing the functions and goals by teaching them to process events to reach their goals together as a team. Social skills, we are trying to develop their communication, clarification, paraphrasing, and praising all together. So if they are working together, it's easier for them to communicate rather than being with one teacher. And then they are able to uh, develop clarification skills by asking their co-students, paraphrasing if in case they're not clear, and praising by encouraging others if ever they did something wrong. And then promotive interaction is about encouragement and facilitated communication. So encouragement is by if they will work together, it means they will be dependent on the success of the others. So their success is nothing if the others are not. And so by grouping them, we are encouraging them to ask other students to do well as well. Okay. So basically, that's all about cooperative learning. Most of the time, it works in math problems, science projects, but in English, it can be used in, let's say, creating novels, writing novels, in creating or solving grammar problems. So it's not just always about one simple task, but most of the time we give it to very complicated problems. And now we're here. On the next episode, we are going to talk about setting objectives and providing feedback to our students. So I hope you learned something from this, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.